Hello, everyone. This is Sue Simmons of Equinox Family Consulting. I'm here live from Ennismore, Ontario, just outside of Peterborough. I'm really excited to be doing my second Facebook Live. I will be doing one each and every Thursday, and my goal in doing these is to educate you about a developmental approach to autism and to give you some great support and information and answer questions, and of course raise awareness for my personal mission, which is to give moms of autistic children back their power so that they can really learn to manage challenging behavior in a positive fashion and in a fashion that allows them to connect more positively, with their ASD child. And ultimately to help the moms feel competent. I am an ASD mom myself. My son is now 21 and he's doing really well. But boy, did we have ups and downs. And I first came across a developmental parent-based program called the Relationship Development Intervention Program, which worked really well for my family, and I wound up becoming certified as a consultant. I studied for 2 years in Houston, Texas, under the founders that developed the program. So I'm here because I am so passionate about helping autism moms. I have a big mission here, people. I am out to change the way that we view autism away from a behavioral approach. And so I'm also, I just finished my first Better Behavior boot camp last night, and it was a tremendous success. I'm so excited, and there's so much interest about the next one, which is beginning on April the 5th. I'm actually considering starting 2, and my goal is to have at least 2 of these Better Behavior boot camps running at all times, so I can spread the word about a developmental approach to autism and what really is possible for our children. And so what I thought I'd do today is I would start by, oh, hello people, there are people there, yay, hi Cindy, hi Mary, hi Teresa, Melissa and Kathy, thank you so much for joining me. This is very exciting. I feel like I'm on my own show. I guess I really am. So what I thought I'd do is just give you a little bit of information about how autism develops. And this is really interesting because most of the moms that I talk with and that I work with really haven't heard this before, and it boggles my mind that no one has shared this with them. So a child is born, a child with autism has a different neural makeup. There are parts of the brain that are overconnected and parts of the brain that are underconnected. And at a certain point in time, a tipping point takes place. And what this means is that the child, instead of being intrinsically motivated to connect with parents, really kind of withdraws and so does not have that intrinsic motivation to connect with parents that a typically developing child would. And this has really tragic consequences. So what this means is due to the child's mental unavailability to participate in all of the little seemingly innocent interactions that typically take place between a mother or father and a child, their development does not occur in the typical fashion. So, and what all of those little interactions would have done is literally shaped the child's neural makeup. So it really, interaction shapes our brains quite literally. So the child seeking this static world, and of course the parents are devastated. And so as a result, the child doesn't develop resilience that a typical child would. The child is unable to borrow the parent's perspective, because that's what we do as children. We look to our parents to see how they are viewing things. And thirdly, they don't develop this, what I call an emotional feedback loop. So at any given time, the parent and child really aren't connected emotionally and don't know what's going on for one another. And if you have a neurotypical child, you would know what I'm talking about. So it's really tragic. So a key point here is that we are born in relationship, and we live our lives and develop through relationships with other people. Which brings me to, well, and just to finish up that last point, those three aspects they form what we call the guided participation relationship. And it's through that relationship that we parent our typically developing kids. So I hope you're following me. So the next thing I want to talk about is a behavioral approach to autism. And I'm going to say right out there that I have a huge problem with the Ontario Autism Program. I give the government points for trying to address this very, very broken system, but it makes me crazy that they are only supporting a behavioral approach. And here's why. Number one, I do think that there has been a lot of lobbying on the part of the behaviorists, and I do not begrudge anyone who chooses a behavioral approach to autism. We are all, or we should all be free to choose the approach that we want. However, in my research for my Better Behavior Bootcamp program, which I'll be talking about in a moment, I surveyed 150 parents, and I personally interviewed over 40 moms. And most of these moms' children had been in a behavioral therapy, in some case extensively. And I have in my private practice worked with families whose children have had like 2 years of behavioral therapy. The problem is that they are really working on behavior and seeing this behavior as something that has to be, shaped, or this child needs to be taught skills. And the problem with that, in my view, is behavior is at its core communication at its finest form. So when our behavior is really indicating what's going on for us. So to be shaping these child's behaviors, trying to mold them to make them more acceptable or less disruptive, it's really troublesome to me. And it does not attempt to address the neurodevelopmental aspect of autism, which is really what I'm all about. So I don't feel that it really captures or tries to cultivate the child's true potential. But the biggest problem is, if you consider the research I did, all of these moms' children had had behavioral therapy, but yet their biggest need was help and support in managing their child's behavior. So, what's with that? When you take a child and the child sits at a table with a therapist and then joins back into the family, even if the parent had been involved in that therapy, you can't expect the child to be different. And on top of that, we are parents and children, and we are in a relationship with our children. So we have to factor in that relationship and the patterns that have developed over time between parents and child. So it's much more complex than just, changing a child's behavior and bringing the child back into the home. So, these poor moms are, and I was one of them, left feeling incompetent. and you know, humiliated. And it's a horrible, horrible place to be. And any of you who have a child on the spectrum would know what I am talking about. So it's a tragic situation for parents. So the Better Behavior Boot Camp that I started is really my attempt. I want to create a movement in changing how we view autism and changing how we view behavior. And you may be thinking, well, why am I running a Better Behavior Boot Camp? Well, here's the thing. You know, yes, we are out to change behavior in my boot camp. However, how do we do this? We do this by understanding our child's behavior, determining what's behind it. What is that child trying to communicate? And then we look at how we are showing up as parents. So this is not just about the child. It can't possibly be. As parents and children, we get into all kinds of negative behavior patterns that develop over time. And so we are out to try to understand the behavior, to learn about what behavior is, and to learn about the differences in the two approaches, behavior versus developmental. And in my work, I am all about not using rewards. Rewards are never going to work. They're not sustainable. And through the use of extrinsic rewards, we're teaching the child that they do something that we want and they get a little goodie. I'm all about developing intrinsic motivation through connection with the child. So I want to give these moms the tools to manage difficult behavior through connecting with the child in a different way, through showing up in a different way and being able to connect with them on a deeper level. Let's see now. If you're in Ontario, my program is, from what I'm told, covered by Special Services at Home, which is fantastic. Right now there are 5 spots available in the program. And let's see, I'm going to talk a little bit about the program itself and what is included. So it's a 7-week program, 7 consecutive weeks. We're using the Zoom platform. Video conferencing calls can be recorded, and we have a private Facebook group. I offer a one-on-one coaching session for each of the parents. So here are some of the things that we talk about. You know, what is behavior? I offer resources around that. We're also incorporating EFT or tapping, which is a very powerful mind-body methodology for reducing stress. So I'm providing tapping scripts for each of the moms and teaching them how to use it with their children. They establish a behavior goal. So what is it they want to see shift in their child? So that's kind of what they're working on for the 7 weeks. We have fun, we laugh. It's great to have the moms be able to connect. So how to minimize a meltdown. What to do when your child isn't listening and it doesn't involve nagging or yelling. We talk about self-care. Let's face it. Autism moms are notorious for not looking after themselves, and they need to look after themselves. You know, if your cup is empty, you can't possibly give to other people. Meltdowns versus tantrums. What is the difference? Building your self-awareness. This is a huge piece. We can't separate our child's behavior from our own. So through the group, parents learn to understand their behavioral style. I have them do an assessment so that they learn to understand what their style is like. In my case, I'm a go-getter, a very personable individual, and so I need a lot of social interaction, and I expect myself to really go for it. But with my children, their styles are very different. So if I'm anticipating that they're going to manage things in their lives the way I would, I'm not serving them well. So we also learn about the anxiety curve. What does, let's pick apart a meltdown and really understand, when is it time to teach your child about their own self-awareness? When is it time to redirect a child? When do you just, duck and dodge when your child is out of control? Ways to communicate so you can make processing easier for your child, so your child is more able to listen and hear what it is you're saying. Understanding emotional regulation. What else? Parents create their own self-management scale. So they can really understand what their triggers are and what they can be doing so that they're not flying off the handle. Use of the incredible 5-point scale. The importance of slowing down. More of anything isn't better unless it's love. So more therapy isn't better. More lessons aren't necessarily better. We need to take time to just be with our kids, to learn to be okay with silence, and to be able to really be with them without making demands of them. How to use praise to encourage your child to do more of what it is that you want them to do. Shifting negative behavior patterns. So it's a really jam-packed program that I've had so much fun working with these amazing moms. And I'm going to read a testimonial. Oh my gosh, 17 minutes. Wow, who would have thunk it? So this is from Julie in Toronto, who's she's a freelance writer and the founder of Spectrum Parenting, which is a Facebook group. In the 6 years since my son was diagnosed, he has had every kind of therapy and support available. Yet in all this time, I still found myself unsure of how to manage his behaviors without resorting to consequences and reward charts. These methods often failed, leaving me frustrated and lacking confidence as a mom. Sue's program shifted my focus from behavior to development and gave me back my power. Amen. In a few weeks, I learned how to stop playing drill sergeant and to communicate in my son so that he could really listen. I grasped the stages of anxiety, the difference between a tantrum and a meltdown, and how to respond accordingly. I discovered my own stress triggers and how my own reactions influence my son's behavior. Reframing my thoughts and practicing daily self-care affect how I show up and interact with my son. I discovered how to set effective limits and how to praise him more effectively. All of these seemingly small changes added up to a huge difference. Not only did my 9-year-old start listening more often, I felt closer and more connected to him than I have in a long time. Recognizing that no two families are the same, Sue took the time to get to know us in order to provide personalized feedback, for specific challenges affecting our families. I would highly recommend her program to a parent raising an ASD child, or any parent for that matter. So, Julie, thank you so much. I so appreciate this feedback. It really makes my heart sing. So a couple of things that I want to mention. If you want more information, you can go to lemonstolemonade.mom, lemonstolemonade.mom. And there you can read more information and you can apply. There's no obligation. It's just an opportunity to set a time to talk with me so we can see if this is a good fit for your family. I am going to, this document that I wrote, a very meaty document about the difference between a developmental and a behavioral approach to ASD, I'm going to be putting into my next newsletter, which is called Aptly to the Spectrum and Beyond. So if you go to my website, equinoxfamilyconsulting.com, there you can subscribe to my newsletter. I'll be sending it out early next week, so do that quickly. And also you will get a copy of my free ebook, 5 Steps to a More Peaceful Home. So I think I've covered everything. Wow, I talked way longer than I thought I would. But right now there are 4 spots left in the group. There's a tremendous amount of interest, which is so exciting. And I will be talking to 5 or 6 moms over the next few days. But if you don't make it into this group, I am hoping to start another one on the same day in the evening. So I hope to have one starting at noon on April the 5th, and hopefully one starting at 7. So please share this with moms that you know who are struggling with a child with ASD. Our kids are amazing, and we need to understand that they have tremendous potential. We just have to learn to tap into it in a way that cultivates their potential. And we can do that. We don't have to focus so much on behavior. We don't want to mold them. We want to let their potential come out. And it's through us as parents that this can happen. We can do this. I have done this, and so many other moms are doing this. And please join me in this movement to give autism moms back their power. Let's do this. Let's learn to think about autism in a different way. So I will be back here again next Thursday at 2 p.m. Please join me, and please share this with everyone you know. Thank you so much for joining me. It means so much. And yeah, boy, this is awesome. I love this. See you next Thursday. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And please get in touch with me. You can message me through Facebook. You know how to find me. I look forward to talking with you. And thank you so very much. Bye-bye.